All right. So this podcast is going to be a little bit different because uh Lion isn't here. So I'm calling my friend Alex. And the tenor of this one's going to be different because Alex is we're probably just going to talk politics. So the whole thing about stories and stuff probably won't be as prevalent, but it's still pretty awesome. So I'm gonna give him a ring right now and see if he picks up. I'm on my little shitty cell phone on speaker. So hopefully you can hear that.
Hello?
Hey Alex, it's Danny.
Hey, Danny, how's it going?
Pretty good, dude. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Right on. So I'm in the studio here recording.
Okay. Corey?
Yeah?
Hey, Corey, how's it going?
No, I'm sorry. I'm recording.
You're recording currently. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put my earbuds in really quick.
All right. Cool.
Hold on.
Sounds like you're outside or something.
No, I'm inside of I'm inside of a really, it has a lot of echo. Should I go somewhere else?
No, you're good there.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. So, okay. uh, so there's a couple things I was thinking about talking about today. But I just wanted to give a quick intro, I guess, to how you and I met back in 2007, right?
Yeah, that was the '07.
Summer of '07. I had just graduated from grad school and got this little job canvassing people outside of grocery stores.
Yeah.
And
Hopefully.
I think you were like 22 or 23 at the time,
That would be right.
maybe even younger. Yeah, you were. That was a fun time.
Actually, I believe I was 20 at the time because I couldn't go to the bar with you guys.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, that was a really good time. We were working for the ACLU canvassing to try and save civil liberties, and I think that was how we actually became friends because we were both pretty passionate about. I believe at that time we were canvassing to stop the Military Commissions Act.
Yes. Which
Bush was pushing through.
which is similar to the NDAA. Um, and sorry, and it's surprising that that didn't get as much attention as the National Defense Authorization Act of 2012 and now 2013, which is like the same thing. But I feel like the Obama one has gotten more outrage than the Bush one.
I know, and when I think about it, I try to figure out why. Why are people, caring about these issues, but more now than ever? But I think the Military Commissions Act was kind of the door that was opened, and I remember we used to talk about how, it's not going to end with Bush, and you're proposing that the door he's going to open in the next president to walk through it, and I'm pretty sure that's what's happened. So all those people that are against the NDAA, we really needed them back in '07, because regardless of the NDAA is enforced or not, we've already lost posse commentari. We've already lost corpus. Show me the body. Can't happen right now. So basically, all these things are already lost. So at this point, to me, it's a moot issue. It's a moot point.
What, the Military Commissions Act or the new NDAA?
The NDAA, the outrage, the uproar, it's a bit too late for that, in my opinion. Might be a little bit sarcastic to say, but that ship has already sailed.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to do something, right?
Yeah, we got to try. Because we're talking about it, communicating with people what's actually going on. So you can understand this isn't something that just began with Obama, and I don't believe it's going to end it. When it comes down to it, the United States is extremely debt-ridden, but at the same time we're spending so much money and resources on expensive militarism. So we see ourselves going in one direction towards a highly militarized police state, and on the other hand, we have an extremely uninformed public who believes different things like the sequester, the fifth, or even actual topics of discussion are going to save us or not.
Yeah, so tell me about this. I was actually listening on the news on the way in here, and someone was saying Congress and Obama are playing Russian roulette with the sequester, and we just want them to come together. And I was thinking to myself, the federal deficit is like approaching $2 trillion, and the sequester's $85 billion. How is that playing Russian roulette? How is $85 billion gonna affect $2 trillion? And then Obama's on TV saying that if we allow the sequester to go through, then firemen and police officers are gonna lose their jobs. Those aren't even federal employees.
I know. I've even heard how airports are going to airport traffic. All flights will be delayed at least an hour and a half because they're going to have to cut air traffic controllers, which I do believe is a federal operation. But yeah, this supposed cliff that was averted, all it was postponed until March. So that's how we made it from December 31st till now, that America falling apart, supposedly. But we really hear what our options are, so apparently we make this cut. Like you said, all these civil services and all these things are supposed to collapse. We go back years before we were understaffed and underpaid, or, as our president said, he said, well, we should just tax more.
Wait, what? Say that again?
The president suggests taxing more, higher incomes using the Buffett, the Warren Buffett ideology.
Yeah.
People that make over $1 million, raising their tax bracket higher, the amount you tax them, and how that will, recoup that $85 billion that we're supposedly missing. But to me, it's like a mouse chasing a cat chasing his tail, or a Tom and Jerry shenanigan. Because in reality, once again, that ship has sailed financially. There's no turning back to the destruction of this economy. I mean, financially, regardless, we could truly turn this around if we did tax and we did all these other things. But it's where is this money being spent? Are we spending it on developing and job creation? Or are we spending it just trying to avert a disaster that's self-created? We need jobs in this country. Simply put, people are working, America does better. And although, the Germans had a 100-year plan to pay off their debt, and they did it in less than 25 years. They cut back. They changed the way their economy ran. They stopped throwing all their money into the military, as, they've done. This is post-World War I. And through the unity of their government, and, everyone realized they want to save their own government, so we're not going to take out something that we know it needs to survive, like wealth, all these things. Once we determine how serious of a problem it is, which people have known, but for some reason the mainstream media doesn't tell you how serious it is. They want to make you think, oh, we have to do these cuts on social services and Medicare and all these things in order for us to be able to eat in the next 6 months. But that's just not true. In my opinion, we need to stop printing money and start cutting back.
Yeah.
And taxing those people that need to be taxed at a high bracket. We're talking about corporations as well. When I hear about multi-million-dollar corporations paying $10,000 a year in taxes, $30,000, $40,000, it's a joke.
Well, you mentioned the media not talking about how bad it is, and it's so bad that we're in a perpetual debt system and all that. But who do you think is controlling the media, and why would they want to keep that from the public? The danger of our debt and our national deficit and overspending and all that. Why would they want to keep that secret?
I think they know full well that Americans love America, and that if Americans knew what was truly going on, it would change the leadership. There would be an American spring. People would revise their notions of, okay, well, if it's not affecting me right now, I'm not going to pay attention to it. Start realizing that we all share the same problem, the same enemy financially, and we have to band together to work. Meaning, our elected representatives, the ones that, like patty cake with the corporations, with big money, big oil, those people are running stuff from behind the scenes through lobbyists, and they influence our government. We have indictment. What company did he work for again?
Goldman Sachs.
Exactly. He's the Department of Treasury head. So when you start realizing that this collusion has gone down, all these people are going to lose their position. They're going to lose their people. They want to prosecute them.
But do you think that they would really lose their positions? Because a lot has already come out. I
think that it's the inundation, the way that our media works now is I can release the truth, but the arm of the media that serves those interests has taken over. Clear Channel Media has taken over all radio. Okay? So many forms of print media are owned by 1, 2, 3 corporations.
Yeah.
Okay? And they inundate the media to cover up these true stories. There's media outlets covering it. It's out there. People like you and I can go and click Bing or Google search and find out what's happening.
Yeah, I know.
There's no will to do so because we've all become very comfortable with allowing someone to tell us that it's going to be all right if you listen to me, if you trust me. Now, there's one thing I wanted to mention. Just a quick little anecdote. Why, the question was that we asked, why does the media not do its job, basically?
Yeah.
And I found out something really interesting that Rupert Murdoch, founder of News Corp, I didn't know this, but I believe it was in 2010 or 11, one of the princes of Saudi Arabia took second biggest share ownership in the corporation. Okay? Which means that he is, behind the Murdoch family, the second most powerful media mogul in this country from behind the scenes. Okay? Now, what does that mean? It is the same guy that we've given billions of dollars to for oil, who the civil liberty abusers treat women like dirt, and we're never going to hear about, let's go attack Saudi Arabia for their human rights violations.
Well, I mean,
together. What do you think?
Well, I don't think we'd ever attack Saudi Arabia because we have a deal with Saudi Arabia that was cut in like 72 when they had the OPEC thing, and they fixed the prices, and that's why we had all that gas problem, and all of a sudden there was inflation in the 70s, and then they cut a deal, and ever since then the dollar has been traded with petrol. So when petrol's bought and sold, it's with the dollar, and that was a deal we made with OPEC. And that's basically why we've gone to war in the Middle East, is because of the petrodollar. Whenever, Saddam Hussein talks about selling his oil with the euro, Gaddafi starts talking about selling his oil with the euro. He stops taking loans from the IMF. It's these people who escape the debt slavery system that we're in. But anyway, the thing with what you mentioned there, I didn't know that he bought a huge portion of News Corp. But
I think it was something like 7% or something like that, which amounted to the second highest share.
I wonder. I mean, Saudi Arabia is probably a part of the system there. But I think that's probably fairly rare for an Arab country or an Arab to own comparatively to, say, Jewish interests.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty interesting here in America, considering the powerful arm of the Israeli lobby. But I think it's back to this paradigm. If you play the game with us, we'll play the game with you. But when we're allowed to change the rules, America changed the rules, and you have to follow mine. If you don't like the rule change, you get taken out. You're a human rights violator and enemy of freedom, and it's pretty much dead meat.
Yeah.
But if you play the game, you give us money. For instance, the Saudis, we gave them so much money. In return, they must buy our weapons. Bahrain, they have to buy our weapons.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sickening thing how the media works these days, where you have Obama up there with vaulted righteousness talking about how bad people are, while they're friends with China. It's just, yeah, in Saudi Arabia, these are countries that are doing, if you want to talk human rights violations. So it has nothing to do with like being a good person or Obama being only wanting to be friends with good people. It has zero to do with that on the international political arena. It has to do with exactly like you're saying, who is going to play the game, who's going to be a part of our system, take our loans, allow us to plunder their natural resources, etc.
Yep. And but there's a real weakening of America's real prowess. So we do enforce with our military, but we all know that if China decided to stop playing the game tomorrow, we would have no recourse. The only reason why the Chinese currently can, for instance, everyone wants to call China a currency manipulator. That's the most ridiculous posturing I've ever heard. Because in reality, China controls our currency.
Well, that's not, I mean, China... But China, everybody always talks about how China owns so much of our currency in terms of our debt, but if you really look at who owns our debt, like 70% of it's owned by the Fed. And the Bank of China is taking loans from the IMF as well. They have a Bank of China. They're an IMF member. And you're right in the sense that a lot of our money does come from the IMF too. And China, Brazil, Russia, India, those countries are bankrolling the IMF because their debt to GDP ratio is so small. So they own international stock in a World Bank, IMF, Bank of International Settlements, World Bank, that trifecta. But their actual ownership of real hard treasury bonds is like a third, I think, which is a lot. And if they did back out, it would be a problem. But
yeah, I don't think they will. Like you were saying, there's some mutual beneficiaries of one another. I mean, they were able to climb on our backs by unloading all their cheap goods on us, and in return, we gave them nothing except for the right to continue to live with autonomy and no fear that they can abuse their population to whatever length they wanted to, as long as they didn't come after us. That's my opinion of it. And I see this when I hear about, when I talk about when the Olympics was in China, and the media hinted at human rights violators, while protesters there were getting imprisoned, beaten, tortured, protesters that made a scene in front of the international community. And no one says anything but, China, you got to do better. This is like the softest pat on the wrist I've ever heard from someone who organ harvests. I don't know if you're familiar with what's going on with Falun Dafa practitioners, otherwise known as Falun Gong, spiritual practice in China. And
Yeah.
these practitioners get their organs harvested, imprisoned, maimed, burned, all of these things, just for practicing a spiritual practice that doesn't put the CCP above all else. That's truly what they do over there. The CCP replaces God, it replaces honor, it replaces everything. Their commitment to the party is the definition of how good a citizen you are. And those people that retain any kind of spiritual beliefs that don't fall in line with the state, they're punished heavily over there. I don't live there, and I feel bad for all those people there. But my question is, why the double standard? I mean, we can all have answers to that, but I think it's something everyone needs to think about. Why can one person do such horrible things, one entity, one nation state do such horrible things, and have there's no retribution for its victims? While other ones, when Gaddafi was taken out, he said, don't you remember that massacre you did? Or Saddam, remember that massacre of the Kurds 10 years ago? That's why we're going to go beat them up now. But from that point up until we took them out, we were doing business with them, like you said, until we decided he wanted to switch to the euro.
Yeah.
So he stopped wanting to take loans from World Bank and IMF.
Yeah.
Well, he decided he wanted some financial independence for his country so they could actually develop and not just concentrate money to the top elites who were going to run the country and keep the people poor. Once that was determined that he was going to play that game, that's grounds for dismissal. And we all know real well how he was dismissed.
And what's insane about it is that this is a liberal president who ran on ending the Iraq War, ending Afghanistan, stopping Guantanamo Bay, and then he unilaterally, without Congress even, invades Libya and just decimates that country. And there's not a peep from the left, not a word from the left.
None from the progressives.
None from them. And that's the thing that's been so frustrating to me all last year. It was like all these things are coming out, the NDAA, drone bombing, Anwar al-Awlaki, his son, and Samir Khan, all three of them American citizens, without a show of cause or due process. And nobody says anything besides the people with the most integrity stood up and said something, like Noam Chomsky, Daniel Ellsberg. Those people came out and said something about it. But most of my friends still are supporters of Obama. And when you give them facts that are irrefutable, like this drone strike memo that came out trying to create a legal framework for killing American citizens on American soil. It's like a nightmare that this is even being discussed, and it blows my mind that we have to even talk about it. And that liberals who were so vitriolically against Bush for the Patriot Act, just the Patriot Act, are supporting drone bombing American citizens because of Obama. And I don't think that it's, people talk about the lesser of two evils between even Obama and Bush or Obama and Romney. I don't think he's the lesser of two evils. I think he's the more effective evil. Obama's got something where he can justify anything, and people believe that he's doing the right thing.
It's his skills as an interlocutor, and the fact that it's just very complex. But I think there's two reasons why he's able to do it. Number one is because he's black. Okay, and what that means is that once something historic has happened on that level, for instance, the first black president, it's going to be really hard for people to want to start criticizing him for fear of being called racist, for fear of them being grouped in with those hicks out there that all don't like Obama because he's isn't even true. I don't believe that most of his opposition hates him because of his race. I think they don't like him because of the policy is what he's doing. But of course, the media has portrayed that if you don't like Obama, it's going to be because of some prejudice.
Yeah.
Second reason I think he's been able to get away with it.
It's the same thing.
Truly don't want to know. I think they get scared.
It's the same thing they do when you try and criticize or expose the crimes of international bankers.
Exactly.
If you name these people, if you say Rothschild, even J.P. Morgan, they will associate that with anti-Semitism.
Exactly.
And they're doing that with the president so that he can't be criticized.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At this point, you cannot criticize Obama. I recently saw an article about a military veteran who on Facebook said some comments to the effect of he wanted some change or, Obama wasn't what it was cracked up to be. It wasn't overtly violent. He wasn't saying he was going to do anything. But his fate was the FBI went to his house and they took him and they committed him to a mental institution.
Oh, yeah, that's Brandon Raub or whatever.
Exactly. He's getting arrested. He's totally cognizant. He's speaking eloquently. You read his posts. It's nothing off the wall. And I think it's because he's in the military, he kind of loses rights. I don't think that we're at the point where, maybe other people, just dissenters, will get thrown in jail. It's something that's happened over the course of time. But we're starting to see this where you're crazy. You're a nut job if you oppose what's happening. You're psychotic, and there's so many labels, just ready-made labels, put you up in a little package if you disagree.
Yeah, and now it's getting so bad now that people are going to start talking about using violent means to stop this government from destroying the Constitution completely.
Yeah, and that's absolutely the worst response anyone could ever have to these problems. Our problem started on Capitol Hill, and they're going to end there. And we decide to not allow our leaders to be chosen for us. When you stop allowing the A and B paradigm to dictate who we're going to put our trust and faith in every 4 years.
Well, when do you decide I've had enough of this fucking bullshit? I'm tired of him sitting there. I should play this video for you just so you can hear it. The way that this guy asked this question about the drone bombs in America, and he's saying, how are you going to provide a legal framework for the American people?
A lot of people are very concerned that your administration now believes it's legal to
Can you hear that?
strikes on American citizens, and whether or not that's specifically allowed with citizens within the United States. And if that's not true, what will you do to create a legal framework to make American citizens within the United States know that drone strikes cannot be used against American citizens?
Well, first of all, I think there has never been a drone used on an American citizen on American soil. And we respect and have a whole bunch of safeguards in terms of how we conduct counterterrorism operations.
You hear that? Did you hear that at all?
No, I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, he's just talking about it like he's talking about gay marriage or spending money on education, the way that he explains it. And he says, when he's answering this question, he's just, first of all, there's never been a drone used on American citizen on American soil.
Yeah, there has been one outside of our nation's borders.
Yeah, I know.
Two actually. Father and son.
Yeah, and Samir Khan killed him without cause or anything. And so I'm wondering when does it reach a point where I mean, really, when the president's killing American citizens without cause and murdering people, is that when we do something about it? When we have no recourse politically to do anything about it?
That seems to be where we're headed. We're at a point where, as we were mentioning earlier, with the Military Commissions Act. That was a time when we could have seen legislatively this had some very bad implications. So we changed it. But once that door has been opened and it's been walked through, we can't go back in time and appeal to it. Like, that's not going to happen. And at a certain point, this is why a lot of people say, well, I must become violent because I have no other option. But when the drone flies overhead, I mean, I believe we have drones. First of all, we all know we have drones flying right here now. On the government, I believe we're Denver Police Department and other places in Florida. They're all considering having drone strikes in America.
Yeah.
Not drone strikes, sorry. Having surveillance drones for your protection and security, as we choose.
Yeah.
But the main part is that we're going to have the surveillance drones. Surveillance drones are flying around. At first, people are scared. What's that little thing in the sky watching? Okay? It gets to the point where we become used to that. When everyone becomes used to that, then next thing you know, we're strapping missiles on. Oh, there was a bad guy, and there was a cop chasing a car down here. I'm in downtown LA right now, on Winston in Maine. Guess what? They shot him down with a missile.
They shot him down what?
I'm getting a hypothetical scenario. Once we strap a missile onto these drones, right, and they start, oh, there's a bad guy. No, let's do a tactical strike. Oh, the truck out there on the highways today or on the streets. Okay?
Yeah.
Right? So at that point, it's too late.
Yeah, that's what they want to happen. And I feel like this quote unquote this leak that happened with the drone policy, I'm pretty sure that was a planned leak. They want it to be confirmed that yes, I did kill someone in Yemen. He was an American citizen. I didn't do a show of cause. What are you going to do about it? I'm planning on killing Americans in America. What are you going to do about it? They're testing the waters. And I think this whole thing with trying to take our guns because of this fucking school shooting is because they're scared. They know that they're committing crimes, and they're afraid that the American people at some point are going to get pissed off enough that they will take up arms against this government.
I mean, but at the same time, they had to know earlier that this was going to be the end game. That at a certain point, when people start feeling threatened by their own government, what do people do? They revolt. We've seen it happen in every society over the course of every age. When the political will of people bonds together at a certain point, it could be one instigating event, something will happen. And I believe it's part of a certain plan. I believe it's intentional. I mean, there's no way anyone could ever think that you can do these things, that people are just going to sit and not care. But the sad thing to me is that people like you and I who hear about certain laws, we oppose them, we try and bring awareness to them, the voices are muted and they're going to stay muted. There's too much false media out there. The power is too great, they consolidate it into the hands of those who serve those interests or whoever, maybe they're even creating the interests. But there's no real legislative resource. We can't make a law to undo those laws because the system will not allow it. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with a bunch of people who want to live in delusion because when they start hearing about these things and you put pieces of this puzzle together, it's a scary puzzle. You don't like the picture you see. So you disassemble it real quick and pretend you didn't see it. People are going to start caring when their sons and daughters are threatened. People are going to care when they don't feel safe anymore. For now, they do. That's the sad part.
Or if they...
All of these laws are leading up to this. And people are going to say, how can you do this? It's illegal. All you got to do is go to Congress or wherever these laws are kept and pull them out. And they'll say, hey, look, we passed this law 6 years ago. You didn't say anything then. You lost your right to dissent.
Yeah.
It's already been done, you know what I'm saying? So I just think it's something that that's the point where people don't want to know. Everyone wants to just live their life and forget. And I understand why. Because it's a real scary prospect. It's very possible what we're dealing with. We've seen societies that have become totally corrupt, totally violent against their own people. It all started when everyone wanted to ignore what was happening for their own security.
Yeah, it all started with 9/11. I mean, it's been going for a long time, but I mean, man, it went supernova after 9/11. And there are people, I mean, probably 50 to 70% of the population still believes in the official story. In some way, they're either delusional or they just haven't heard or looked into it enough. And I think, huh?
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
What'd you say?
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
I was just saying that there's a lot of delusion going on, and I think the way that the Fed is printing money and propping this government up and this economy on borrowed cash, like to the tune of I think $80 billion a month now. I think it's something like that. He's buying $80 billion in housing securities a month, and I think that's being done long enough to where there's no way that there can be any resistance. So they're keeping the American people in this fake comfort level, at this fake comfort level, and just eviscerating the founding documents of our country.
Well, yeah, those documents are non-existent with the power that they had, the forefathers laid them to have, that were supposed to be protectionary. I mean, they're gone.
What do you mean?
Like the Constitution no longer has any weight. It doesn't really exist anymore. It's been destroyed, demolished, it's gone. We gave up those rights when we allowed other laws to come to refute it, and no one said, hey, what about our Constitution? That's when it was gone.
Yeah.
I mean, Obama just sent troops into Mali. I don't know if you've heard about what's going on there. The French are doing an incursion there to stop these Islamists that supposedly spilled over into the Malian desert after Gaddafi's killing. These are the rebels that he's Gaddafi's people, but it's not true. But regardless, the French started the war there. Now, the Americans first said, we're going to give material help, right? Because remember, we're talking about the Constitution. You can't start a war without who? Congress, right?
Yeah, we haven't declared a war since World War II.
Yeah, how many wars have we been in? That's what I'm talking about. When we started letting these things happen the first time, we didn't do anything about it. That's when it was lost. It was gone then. So we're going back to Mali, quickly.
Wait, say
material support, and this is how it always happens.
Alex, say that again.
Yes. First, we started saying material support to the Malians. Okay, we gave them planes. I don't know about weapons, but we were giving them assistance, and we said, "Oh, we're not going to get in this war. We don't want to be involved in this war." Okay. So what that did was that got everyone used to the idea of us in Mali. We weren't there directly. Oh, our troops aren't there. But guess what? It's happening. This last week, we sent 300 troops to Mali. What does that tell you? At first, we wouldn't do that. We're not going to have any troops there. We're just going to help them out. After that, now there's 300 soldiers in Mali on the ground helping the French. We're now inside of Mali. We're now at war with Islamists in Mali. This is how it happens. And it's done. You no longer need Congress to declare war. Congress has never stopped Obama or even Bush from doing any of the wars that they wanted to do. When people first were lied to by Colin Powell, he told the truth. He said, I was lied to. Okay? And he was shut out of politics after this. Colin Powell lied to us to get us into a war. The moment that people said, oh, well, it's okay, Colin Powell's a good guy, and they didn't say, hey, wait, this is an illegal war, we must end it now. That's when the anti-war movement was the biggest. I believe that was around 2004. The moment something wasn't done back then, like I said before, the opportunity was lost to actually do anything or get any kind of legal recourse. The moment you allow a law to be disregarded, that law no longer has weight or power.
Yeah.
So that ship is sailed once again.
Yeah, it's frightening that that killing someone is becoming that way.
Right.
I just don't understand the statist idea. I mean, that's what these liberal progressives are that support Obama. they're statists in the sense that they think that the state is different than the people.
Right.
They think that the state should have more rights than the people should. Whereas if I were to send like 300 troops of my own to Mali, I would probably be burned alive like David Koresh.
Right.
Or if I was to forcibly remove guns from someone's house, I would be arrested. Or if I was to buy a shit ton of automatic weapons like the federal government does, I would get arrested. But the federal government can tell me that I can't own weapons to defend myself against them.
Those weapons that they could purchase, or any kind of foreign enemy.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a really interesting paradigm. The state is not at first, but we treat it like one. Oh, we love the United States. We give it characteristics of a human being. But at the same time, I think it's the lack of perceived power that people have. People have forgotten that as one, they're more powerful than any state. That they create the state, they put the state into existence when they give it power initially.
Yeah. I just I don't understand how people think that they don't think it can happen here. I don't think they realize, they don't think that Hitler can be in America or communism can hit American soil. They don't see despotism coming to America. And Obama's he's just a perfect front for them.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's I think it's an interesting paradigm, and it pretty much leaves us with only a few options. One is obviously people have to wake up, but to me, like I said, the levels of delusion are so intense now that I don't think anyone's going to notice until, for instance, financial collapse. We're going to keep believing that the media says, oh, we're going to pass this list and we're going to jump over this sequester and then we're going to just monetize a couple more trillion and everything will be fine. People don't care about that language because they've given up the power to want to know. Oh, I'm going to leave it in the hands of these economists, economists who are smarter than me. People won't really care about that until they go to the ATM machine, swipe their card, and it says, we ain't get no money out of here. There's no more money. Like it happened in 2008. Chaos, panic. Same thing happened if a bomb went off or if some terrorist attack happened. People get scared. Then they start reacting. So when you have a population that only finds its will to do anything out of base emotion, you're going to have base reaction, which usually is going to be violence and blood.
Yeah.
And the other option is everybody kind of having some kind of magical awakening, which I hope can happen. But saying, you know what? We don't need to get violent because all we're going to do is kill each other. We're all brothers, sisters, our country together. Anyone that thinks to stand for, a revisionism of what we used to be. I mean, those principles that the country was founded on were founded for a reason. That's why it was perfect. More perfect union, okay? We as a state, we give the federal government power. The moment we decide we don't want it, we can dissolve that government and have a new one. You see this happening all over the world. But for some reason, you can read about it and say, for instance, in Tunisia, the people went out on the streets recently and said, we're sick of you, President. We're sick of your leadership, or Prime Minister, whatever he was. And those people in power got scared. What did they do? They said, we're going to dissolve the government. We're going to try and create a national unity government. And if I can't do it, I want my country to shine, I'm going to step down. They tried to create a national unity government in Tunisia. It didn't work. And they stepped down. This is something that is a concept foreign to us here. But the government can be dissolved. But all of the cabinet members can be removed at once, and we can rebuild in the middle of the election cycle. This is something that people don't really realize. It happens all over the world all the time, but they don't think that we can do this thing. That, to me, is going to have to be one of our only options. We have to kind of just shut down what's going on and rebuild it back up with the principles that we were founded on. Bring back the Constitution as the highest order of the land. Bring back habeas corpus.
Yeah, but there's obviously something. I guess there's no way to keep bad people from destroying a country, but
I mean, there are
how would you keep someone from following the law? I mean, Obama is not following the law. You know, we have a Constitution written, and he's just taken an eraser to the Magna Carta.
Right. But look, Bush did it first, did he not? No one said a thing. So I don't understand why it's hard to understand how that Obama can do the same thing. And it's going to be even easier for him because he's a new face with a fresh new look.
Well, I guess my problem with Obama that's more frustrating than when Bush was in office is that I felt like the opposition towards Bush was all of the progressives, and most of the people who were supporting Bush were Republicans who were afraid. Like, they're afraid of 9/11 again. That's why they're doing it. Now, it's like Obama's in office, and the progressives who were against everything Bush was doing are saying nothing, but they're supporting him not because of a fear of 9/11. They're supporting him because he's black and he's a liberal progressive who can speak.
Yeah, it's a fear of being politically incorrect. I mean, it's almost high treason to suggest that he's doing something wrong at this point. Because it's like people are more afraid of being considered racist or a backwards kind of person rather than somebody who's an avid component of keeping America America.
Yeah.
Or the Constitution as a doctor. Oh, look at you. You sound like a hick. You mentioned the Constitution, you're a hick now. You're stupid.
Yeah.
That ship sailed years ago, buddy. Constitution, Constitution. No one cares. But God forbid you mention something wrong about it.
Yeah. Well, you know what we should do sometime is somehow we should have you call in and have like a Republican and like a Obama supporter on the line.
Do you know any?
Yeah, I do. I know one of my liberal friends who lives out here. I've never seen anything negative towards Obama. And I know a lot of Republicans too.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be a lot of fun.
It would be. I'm down to do that. I mean, in reality, I just think people don't want to know. They don't want to have to talk or confront these issues. And I understand. It's scary stuff. But truly, you know, if Obama really fucked something up, he got an excuse. There'll always be an excuse for him. But regardless, there are no excuses truly in the real scheme of it. And it's time for people to stand up. It's time for them to start wanting to open their mouths and just saying what's right and true. Conversations and dialogues like this are going to be our best bet.
Yeah.
The thing that's going to elevate us. Unless we have partnership mentally, intellectually, we're not going anywhere. We can't change anything. We can't create a new government. We can't even have a successful revolution if that was the thing that was supposed to happen. At this point, it's every man for himself. As long as I got food on my table, I don't want to know about problems. That's my state that we're in right now.
Yeah.
And,
well,
I think it's just really important for us to keep talking about it.
Well, I guess before we go here, because I usually just do about an hour, where do you think this is all heading? What do you think the point of all this is?
I think that, you know, America is being unraveled in front of our eyes. And we'll have a new America. I mean, things are changing to the point where I don't think we can go back. And obviously,
well, I mean, what do you think? What do you think these people want? That are the people that Obama works for?
Right. I don't think it's about money. A lot of people will tell you it's money. I don't think so. It could be about having some sort of power. But I think it's the power to create a new world. That's what I think they're after. They give them the keys humanity to create a new paradigm and be the founders. They want to be their own founding fathers. They want to be the progenitors of a new age that lives on after them. Okay? And it's an age in which no longer can be stopped.
Yeah.
No longer. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, you no longer have to go by these old, archaic notions, liberty and freedom. The new world is going to say, okay, I want to do this because I've got all the money and I've got all the power, and unless you want to die, you're going to go along with it. This creates a pliable scenario in which I can do whatever I want quickly without having rules and regulations. And that's what you're seeing happening. Oh, Congress, we got to go through Congress and wait 3 months and vote on a war. Forget that. I'm just going to create a distraction and then slowly leak a story about how I'm doing something. And then there's that news story plus another billion news stories every day. And it's just going to get washed into the rug. And that's how it is. So I think they're trying to create a new system of governance. And personally, I don't think America's ever going to be the same. And I'm one of those people who would rather leave and watch from afar than to stay and try and keep a sinking ship afloat.
So where are you going to go?
I don't know. Maybe Latin America, maybe East Asia. Who knows? But,
yeah. Well, you going to get out of LA soon?
I know. I'm like the rest of us. I'm debt-ridden, just like my own country. I've got a job. If I don't go to that job, I won't have a place to live. So I'm getting dated and that like everyone else. But truly, I mean, if I have the opportunity, yeah. If I don't, fine. I'm not really caring that much. I don't think, oh, I have to leave now. I just think that my satisfaction comes when I'm just aware. That's when my satisfaction comes. When I can have a conversation like this, just get it off your chest. There's really not much else.
Yeah.
And you can affect change within your reach. You can do that. Beyond that, don't worry. This plan has been, and we'll talk about it over the course of time, and I'm sure you brought it up. This is a long, long trajectory, and it's stuff coming from before. The trajectory till now, you can see it happening, and when you hear about the stories, you go back and back. It's all in line. So.
All right. Well,
and it's not going to end anytime soon. But I do believe awareness, discussion are the first part. I'd love to have a conversation with you and some Obama supporters or some anti-Obama supporters, because I'm apolitical, but I'd love to just have a talk about it.
You're not apolitical.
I mean, in the sense that I don't necessarily find interest or effective participating.
Yeah, but I mean...
apolitical in the sense that I'm not going to be sitting here campaigning for one side or the other.
Yeah.
They're going to help.
Yeah, okay. But I mean... I guess I see what you mean.
Huh?
I said I see what you mean, but you definitely hold very strong political views.
Yes, you're true. You're right. I think I used the wrong word there.
All right, well, thanks for, yeah, dude, thanks for taking the hour, and,
thanks for having me on.
Hopefully we can have, like, yeah, we'll have to do, like, I don't know, a series or something. This was kind of like a little primer. But I figure, at some point we can pick a specific topic, and then, just rap on that for a while.
Sounds good to me.
All right, man. Take care of yourself.
All right, Danny. Thank you.
Talk to you soon, brother.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye. All right. It's my friend Alex. Yeah, I mean, an hour just kind of flies by. I don't know how interesting that was to you guys without a whole lot of context there, but this has kind of been like the primer with Lion, now with Alex. Yeah, I'd like to do a thing with him where like we could do a show on 9/11, and that would be a full hour. We could do a series on 9/11, or a show on the Federal Reserve, how it was created, why it's there. So many things we could do. Anyway, hope you're all doing well. And until next time, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.